When I was younger, we went to the Dominican Republic on vacation, and I would always sit on our balcony. Every time I would sit on the balcony, I would always look at this boy that was always sitting outside of the house right next to ours. And I was a little freak thing, even from a youngin'. I was always like eyeing him. He would stare at me like here and there, but it was never like too crazy. It was just me like having like a little crush. I come back to America and forget about that kid, blah, blah, blah. 7 years pass, and I go back to the Dominican Republic on vacation because my aunt was getting married. When I get back to the Dominican Republic, I'm literally in my balcony, like chilling and everything, and I try to like see if the kid that I always used to see as a kid was there. Don't mind my hair. I'm trying not to add heat in my hair, and I, by mistake, did a keratin treatment, so like right now we just have a wet mop. So my little freak ass, because I don't forget my crushes, I like try to look to see like if I find him, and I never found that kid again. So I was just like, okay, he's gone. I was literally walking around with my cousin. So let's call her Chims. Me and Chims were turning the corner of my aunt's house, and we went into like street 8. While we're going into street number 8, this guy like approaches us, and this guy that approaches us was cute. This guy that approaches us had it going. Like a little dark skin, little curly hair. He approaches us, and I'm like, ooh, he's probably gonna hit on me. No. He looks at my cousin, he says, I like your piercing. Because that's how Dominican men be fresh. They be fresh. My cousin, that's not her type of guy. So she was just like, thank you. I looked at her, I was like, girl, you know that fine piece of meat? She was like, no, I don't. But I knew you were gonna like him. That's literally exactly your type. And I was like, shut up. So I fell in love. Took me 2 seconds. I'm in love now. Fully in love. I couldn't stop thinking about that fine piece of meat. So next day comes around, and my cousin Bebo, by the way, every Dominican family has a cousin named Bebo. Bebo says like, I want to go ask the boys if I could play basketball with them. And I was like, oh, you bugging, because you don't even know them like that. You about to ask them that, but like, really? He was like, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna say yes. So I'm like, Bebo, I'm gonna go with you, okay? Just in case, because he's a little younger than me. You know, just in case. Bitch, just in case what? I just want to see if that fine piece of meat was there. So he goes, and he starts playing basketball. When I get there, bro, I kid you not, like 3 or 4 guys approach me with chairs. Talking about, do you want to sit down? Do you want to sit down? Because something about Dominican men, when they see an American, they see that blue passport, baby. And I love the queen treatment. Because if you're like a 3 in the United States, in the Dominican Republic, babes, you're a 10. And I'm a 10 in the United States. So the Dominican Republic, I was a 1,000. When I sit down, I'm just there watching this basketball game. And I'm just in my head like this stupid basketball game. Because I didn't even want to watch no basketball game. I was just here trying to see if I could find that fine piece of meat. And he wasn't there until he was there. He then comes, my little ass fingers. He then comes and starts playing basketball. While he's playing basketball, I'm like giving him the little side eye. He then sits down, hilarious, like why my hair looks like that? He then sits down and like he looks at me a little bit. Right when he looks at me, I made sure to do the, you know, trying to give him like a little, hi papi, I see you. He doesn't approach me or nothing, so that's what made me fall in love more. Because I'm like, oh my God, like any Dominican guy like would run up to me on some, mommy, you looking at me? But he didn't. The game ends and we go back to like my aunt's house. While I'm in my aunt's house, my cousin that lives in DR was there. And I told him like, yo, by any chance, do you know this fine piece of meat that lives like on street 8 and has curly hair and he's like a little dark skin? And he was like, I mean, I know a little dark-skinned guy. Like, I actually know 2 of them that are like a little dark-skinned and have curly hair, but they don't live on street 8. They literally live like right in front of you, and like the other one lives right next to you. And I said, right next to me, right in front of me, who are these men? So he was like, yeah, one is Frenchie and the other one's Choo Chi. And I was like, let me see Frenchie. He showed me Frenchie, and I'm like, absolutely not. That's not my husband. That is not my man. He then shows me Choo Chi's, and I said, shut your mouth up. Shut your mouth up. That's my husband. He then says like, oh, you want me to put in a word for you? I was like, no, because I want him to come to me. Like, is there a way you could plant a seed for him to come to me? He was just like, yeah, I'll see what I could do. So later on that night, Choo Chi's adds me on Facebook, but he doesn't hit me up. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like, well, how are you gonna add me and not hit me up? Turns out that he doesn't really have like a working phone, and he didn't have Wi-Fi. So the way he'll get Wi-Fi is literally stealing Wi-Fi from the neighbors. Like he will full blown like climb like the electric pole stuff and like connect like some wires, like literally on some VR hood shit. So he didn't have Wi-Fi. But then the next day comes around and he hit me up. And he literally explained the same thing to me, like, oh, I had to steal Wi-Fi to talk to you and everything. In my head, I was like, oh my God, he's so in love. Because I didn't know it was such a normal thing to do that in DR. I literally just thought it was like, it was just him. Like, he was the exception. But it was like, no, the people that couldn't afford Wi-Fi in DR, they stole Wi-Fi. But in my head, I was like, this is the exception. He's just stealing Wi-Fi for me. While we're talking, Choo Chi says like, yo, but I want to see you, like, at least in person. And I said, well, baby, I don't think that's possible because my dad was very strict. Like, my dad was known in our hood as a very strict man. So no guy really, like, tried to hit on us because they were kind of scared of my dad. And he was like, oh, yeah, I know who's your dad, but, like, there has to be a way that, like, we can, like, see each other. So either me or him said, like, let's go to the cafeteria and act like we're gonna get a tostada. But in reality, we're just, like, gonna try to see each other. A cafeteria in the Dominican Republic is basically where somebody, like, sells, like, tostadas, which are sandwiches, chips, soda, hot chocolate. So there was a cafeteria, like, right across his house. He told me, like, go to that one. I was like, oh, okay. I'm gonna go act like I'm getting a sandwich, and you act like you're getting a sandwich, and then we're gonna, like, try to, like, talk to each other without letting people see that we're actually talking to each other. Because I'm telling you, my dad had eyes everywhere. I get to the cafeteria, and I'm there ordering my sandwich, blah, blah. I sit down, start eating my sandwich, and he orders his own sandwich. He then, like, gets close to me and says, like, buen provecho, which means, like, I hope you enjoy your food. When he said that, babes, flashbacks everywhere. I was like, wait. I recognized his face because he had the same teeth as the kid that I had a crush on as a kid. The one that I'll see when I was sitting in the balcony. So when he talked to me, I literally was like, there's no way this cannot be the kid. This cannot be the guy that I was in love with as a kid. I tell him, like, by any chance, like, do you live right next to my house? And he was like, no, I live 2 houses down from you. But when I was a kid, I always, like, chilled in front of the house right next to yours. Like, I actually remember seeing you. Like, you were always sitting in your balcony. I said, soulmate? Like, what are the odds? 7-year pass and you're the one that I fell in love with. I try to laugh it off like, oh, okay. In my head, I already was planning our wedding and how our child was gonna be named. The days go passing by, and it's very hard for me to see him in person until this day that the light goes away. In the Dominican Republic, the light always be going away because it's so corrupt over there. So the light went away in our hood. I tell my cousin Bebo, like, yo, let's walk around. He doesn't know my intentions because nobody knows that I'm talking to Choo Chi's. So he's just like, all right, let's walk around. While we're walking around, he literally says, like, I want to, like, get my freak along. And I was like, all right, like, well, you got to find somebody to get your freak along. There was this girl that I actually knew. And she was, like, chilling there, like, outside of, like, her house. And we're passing by. And she, like, says, like, hi, Lismari, blah, 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 blah. Like, where are you guys going? I'm like, nothing. I'm just here walking around with Bebo. And Bebo, like, taps me, like, that's the one. I told her to come over here. Since my cousin wanted to get his peen wet, he told me, like, yo, but, like, what's up with your friend? I said, I don't know. Like, I'm not about to tell her, like, go with you. Like, I don't know. Right there, who I see turning the corner? Choo Chi's. Right there, Choo Chi's approaches me and he says, what are you doing walking around these streets in the dark? I said, looking for you, papi. Nah, psych. And by that time, I wasn't that confident. So I literally was just like, oh, no, I'm just here walking around with my cousin Bebo. Why, what's up? He was like, is there a way, like, we could sit down by your aunt's staircase and, like, hide a little or something? I was like, okay, like, let's sit there. And the place that we sat down was, like, people really couldn't see us. Like, we were, like, hidden, like, little hidden. My cousin Bebo went upstairs with my friend. Not even my friend, because not like she was my friend. I literally met her on that same trip in DR. He went upstairs. They went and got the freak on. So he got what he wanted, and I got what I wanted. In that conversation, me and Choo Chi's, like, got to know each other a little more. Comes, like, the next day, or I don't know, if, like, 2 days. My aunt, like, shout out to my aunt, because she low-key, like, helped me get with him. Not help me get with him, but, like, help me sneak him around. So I told her, like, Tia, like, I'm talking to this guy named Choo Chi's. I really want to see him, but you know that my dad is really strict. Like, is there a way, like, we could sneak him into, like, the backyard or something? And she was like, ooh, I'm not going to partake in that, but, like, if I see something, I won't say nothing. I was like, oh, okay, word. My cousin there, the one that, like, basically put us on, the one that lived in DR, he was there. So I told him, like, yo, can you bring Choo Chi's, like, into the backyard so, like, I can maybe, like, talk to him or something? He was like, yeah, say less. We'll find a way to sneak him in. So my cousin, like, sneaked him into, like, through this, like, alleyway that, like, leads to the backyard. Some Dominican shit. Like, if you've been to the hood in DR, like, you know, like, there's mad alleyways. Like, it's real crazy. So Choo Chi's comes, and me and Choo Chi sit down. We start talking. Choo Chi tells me, like, oh my God, you got me going so fast. If you're Dominican, you know exactly what he said in Spanish. He literally said, like, tú me tienes rápido. My American ass, I was like, what? what do you mean? He was just like, you got me going so fast. I literally was like, and then he was like, you don't know what that means, right? I literally was like, yeah, of course I do, because I was trying to play it cool. He was like, you sure? And I was like, all right, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what that means. He said like, I'm gonna let you discover that later on. I wanted to be cool with Sally, so I was like, okay. In my head, I was like, I'm gonna find this shit out today. We keep talking, and then he leaves. I then go up to my cousin, the one that put us on, and I tell him like, bro, he said that I got him going fast. What does that mean? My cousin started dying of laughter. He was like, bro, that means you got him excited. That's how Dominicans say, like, you got me excited. I should have seen that red flag. And the reason why I'm saying red flags, because if you follow me on TikTok, you know how tragically this story time ends. I then like started like Facebooking Choo Chi like in the night, and he tells me like, babes, I want to take you on a date. Like, I don't want to be doing this like randomly seeing shit. Like, I actually want to take you on a date. Like, can you go to the movies? I was like, absolutely not. I cannot go to the movies. But what I could do is tell my cousins like, we're all gonna go to the movies, and like maybe you can meet me there. He was like, oh, perfect. So I tell all my cousins, like my sisters, like, hey guys, let's go to the movies. I don't know if it was that same night or the next day. Can't really remember. So while we're in the movie, I literally tell my cousins and my sisters like, so guys, I started talking to this guy like in DR. I don't know if you guys know him, but like, yeah, I'm talking to him. And like the only reason why I told you guys that I wanted to go to the movies, because I'm very blunt with my family like that. I literally was just like, I just came because I basically wanted to use you guys like to come to the movies, but like I'm not gonna watch the movies you guys want to watch. I want to go watch the movie that Choo Chi is gonna go watch. And they were like, all right, no problem. Like, do what you gotta do. Like, our movie ends at this time. Like, you just tell us when your movie ends, and like we'll just meet right after. I was like, all right, thanks for the loyalty. I get there. When I get to inside the movie theater, that shit was packed. I'm like, Choo Chi's, where are you? But he doesn't have a phone with Wi-Fi, so it's like I couldn't find him until I walk to the front and I see Choo Chi's there with his friends sitting in the front. There was no seat next to him, so I was like, where the heck am I gonna sit? When I walk up to him, I'm like, hi. He says like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, there's no seat. He's like, oh, sit on top of me. And I'm like, is this normal? Like in a movie theater in DR? And he was like, yeah, it's perfectly normal. Like, look around. There was several girls like seated on their man in DR on some hood shit. I literally sat down on him and I'm like, okay, like this is what we're doing. But in my head, I really like, it felt uncomfortable, but then I also felt like, my man, my macho. Cause that was like my first time, like at that time I was literally like a little virgin. That was like the first like hood guy that I like talked to. So it was just like, oh my God, like I'm talking to a man, even though like he was around my same age. The next day I had to go to a resort with my whole family because the reason why we were all in DR is because my aunt was getting married. So we all went to the resort for my aunt's wedding. And I remember I was so sad. I was so sad in that resort because I was like, I just want to be with Choo Chi's. Like I remember trying to go to the lobby every 5 minutes because in the resort, there was not Wi-Fi around. There was only Wi-Fi in the lobby. So you will catch me in that lobby 24/7. But the thing that sucked was that every time I'll go get like Wi-Fi, he didn't have Wi-Fi. But thank God, like towards the night, like we got Wi-Fi. He ended up telling me like, I'm currently in my mom's house. His mom lives 3 hours away from like our hood in DR. I'm like, okay, from what I thought, because clearly you guys are gonna see why he was in his mom's house. I come back to the hood and everything, and my aunt tells me like, Lismari, you see that Choo Chi's guy you're talking to? He stabbed somebody on another block in our hood. And I was like, oh, and she was like, yeah, and he ran away to his mom's house so like he doesn't get problems because after he stabbed that person, mad people started throwing him rocks and mad people like try to like basically kill him. I said, what, sir? What? So then I texted him because I didn't want to tell him like I knew that information because again, like me and him are not boyfriend, girlfriend, like we're just here talking. I tell him like, oh, so like, is that really the reason why you're like in your mom's house or whatever? He was like, no, yeah, this and that. Hey, I never like confronted him about it. He then eventually like comes back to our hood and I'm still in Dominican Republic because I stayed there for a while. The light goes away another day. And by that time I'm walking around, I think like with my sister. And I see him like in this alleyway. That alleyway lead to his friend's house. When I see him, he literally like pulls me in. Like he literally takes my arm and pulls me in. And I'm literally like, oh my God, this is a movie shit. This is a movie shit. I'm so in love. I'm so in love. He pulls me in. He's like, where are you going? Like, you think you could get away from me that easily? And I was like, shut your freaking mouth up, dude. This is some romantic shit. So we start sitting down. We talk. And right there, he gives me my first kiss with him. I fell in love. I fell in love. He then tells me, like, you know what's crazy? Like, I can't get you out of my head that I actually made a CD for you. I literally was like, a CD for me? I've never had somebody make a CD for me. So he was like, yeah, because guys, in DR, like, DR is like 5 years behind, like, American time. And he didn't come from a family with money. So, like, for him to listen to music, like, he'll have a CD. And, like, he'll put all his music in the CD. And, like, then he'll put it, like, into, like, the disc player or whatever. So he was like, yeah, I made a CD for you, like, with music that, like, reminds me of you. So then time passes and he starts telling me, he's like, can you please, like, come to my house late at night? And I was like, I don't know, because I'm scared, because my dad is really strict. He was like, that's what I'm saying, late at night. Like, wait till he falls asleep and, like, sneak out of your house. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to really try to sneak out of my house, okay? So one night, I literally, like, get a whole bunch of stuff and, like, make a fake body with my sheets. And I go on my way and sneak out slowly. I literally full-blown sneaked out of my house. I felt so free. I was like, I was able to do this. I went to his house and we started, like, listening to the CD that he made for me. And I was literally just like, I'm so in love. I'm so in love. So then, like, we started, like, kissing or whatever, getting to that. And then, like, he, like, you know, like, tried to proceed to do more. And I was like, no, I'm not ready. Like, I'm still a virgin. He then says, like, okay, I respect it. No problem. Like, whenever you're ready, like, I'm gonna be here. So after that night, it got in my head, like, wait a minute. Like, should I give my V card to him? I always wanted to give my V card to somebody that I genuinely was in love with. Like, I've gotten it offered before, like, let's do it. And I would always say no. But something in me, like, literally told me, like, this is the one. And he really was the one. Even though we ended, like, really, really bad, like, he really was the perfect person to lose my V card with. We continued to do that for a while, like, me sneaking out of my house. Until one day, I literally messaged him and I tell him, like, I think I'm ready. And he was like, babes, like, don't worry. Like, I'm going to make it very special for you. Like, if you're really ready, like, I'm here for you. But, like, are you sure you're really ready? And I was like, yes. I go downstairs. I go to his house, like, with a cute little clothes and everything. And we do our due diligence. That shit hurt. That shit hurt. That shit hurt. Nobody told me that shit was gonna hurt. I thought it was supposed to be all flowers and kisses and rainbows. I literally was like, I never want to do this again. I literally was like, I never want to do this again. This was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. But he's like, babe, it's gonna get better with time. Cause like right now, like you're new to this. I was like, it's not gonna get better. I hate this. This is so horrible. The next day comes around and I'm literally like chilling in my balcony, like late night by myself. And he approaches like my balcony. Literally the way he approached my balcony was like he was hiding. To me, it was so romantic because he was like hiding behind this thing so I wouldn't know that he was looking at me because he literally wanted to surprise me. So like he wrote me a message and he was like, look at something. And I looked at that something and then like boop, right there he appeared. And I was so in love because like he literally did everything like something from a movie. So I was like, yo, and this is after I gave you my V card. So it's like, you didn't even leave me after like we did it. So like, we're really in love. So after that, he's like, can you come to my house again tonight? And like, maybe like we could try it again and it'll be better for you. I go, I do it, try it again. And I hated it. And I told him, like, this is bad. This is horrible. Like, what am I enjoying? Like, what is this? And he was like, babes, it'll get better with time. Like, don't worry. Time passes by. And in DR, I never seen white Hershey bars. So I had told him, like, I actually love white Hershey bars. He, one day out of nowhere, like, comes to my aunt's house and, like, says, like, look what I got for you. A white Hershey bar. And I was like, where did you find this? He was like, I had to go on a mission. Like, I literally took like 2 cars to like go find this white Hershey bar for you. Because I knew they sell it in this country. I just didn't know where. I literally, like, that was more things that made me fall in love with this man. So by the day that it was time for me to leave, he literally like gave me like a little bag with gifts. And after that, I literally just went back to America and me and Choo Chi lasted a very long time together. And then he cheated on me in the bedroom right next to ours while I was sleeping in our bedroom. But that story time is on TikTok. So go watch TikTok to see how me and Choo Chi's ended.
You need to give it up. Had about enough. He's not hard to see. The boy is mine.
He was really never mine because that man really ended up cheating with a girl that was younger than us. Like, oh my God. Like, can you guys believe that? Like, go watch that TikTok. Because go watch. You see how in love we were. And then you're going to see how horrible it ended.